Vicky Marie. Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you are in this crazy world we're living in. So what we're going to look at today in today's video is we're going to carry on listening to these audio calls that sinister Stephans Stearns, made to his parents, Chris and Debbie, and we're going to be further amazed, outraged, incensed, incredulous about these calls. I've listened to a lot of them again this morning for about the 5th time. Every time you listen to these audio calls, something else that you missed on the first one, the first time you listen to it, or the second time you listen to it, or the third time, jumps out on you, at you, takes your breath away with the things that are said, the denial, the indulgence, the passive aggression of Stephans Stearns. I've realised that when Stephans Stearns gets angry, his reedy, whiny voice gets even higher and more reedy and more whiny. It sort of goes up a couple of octaves. That's when you know he's angry. But I bet he never shows his anger. Maybe showed it that night to Madeline, hey? Maybe that's what happened. But I don't think you ever see his anger, really. He's not that sort of person. He's a passive-aggressive manipulator, narcissist, sociopath. He's all those things, but he lives in plain sight. You can see that. He comes over. He's very self-effacing, and, you can see that there are certain people would easily be manipulated by Stephans Stearns. And of course, the prime victims of his manipulation are his parents, Debbie and Chris, who just seem to, sometimes I think, Chris seems to be wising up to what he's like, and then he again says something, you just think, no, their little Stefan, he's perfect. He's, just been led astray by everybody else, especially Big Bad Jen and her family. Her mum actually even refers to them as a load of bitches. So it makes it very difficult for you to feel sorry for Stefan's mum. I've tried to feel sorry for his parents, but, once you listen to these calls, it's difficult to feel sorry for them because they're oblivious to what the devastation their precious Stefan has caused, and they just want to blame everybody else. It's breathtaking. Honestly, I spent the last hour or so while I was listening to them, while I was getting ready and everything, going, oh my God, I can't believe they've said that. Honestly, that's been my reaction all the way through. So I'm glad that I'm on here now to talk about it with you guys and get some shared outrage, because it's like, oh my God, some like-minded people bring me back to the planet Earth, because listening to Chris and Debbie talk, you really do feel like you're on this parallel universe, don't you? So they're just so in denial. It's sad, really. I think they need some psychological help, never mind Stefan. Anyway, first of all, I'd like to say thank you to... so in this, the first video we're going to watch, the first audio we're going to listen to, they're really down on the old YouTubers. So Chris has got, he has a little go about YouTubers, but he doesn't watch them. He doesn't watch them or listen to him. But I got the feeling that he probably listens and watches to everything. He may even be listening and watching this right now. And all I would say is, Chris, you need a severe talking to yourself. He's your son. He's your son. Of course, you still love him. You can't do anything about that. But for goodness sake, let him take responsibility for his own actions for once. Anyway, so thank you for watching. Thanks to all my subscribers. If you're not subscribed, please, please, please think about subscribing. Don't forget to leave your DNA on the like button. And a special thanks, as always, to my members, and also to those of you who've bought me a Ko-fi, sent me a super sticker, or PayPal me or sent me an email, left a nice message. Anyway, you've supported my channel. Thank you so much. Okay, So we'll take the banner off. And then I'm going to say hello to everyone who's in chat so far. If later, you know, I may get off on a rant about something. So if I miss anyone coming in later, I'm sorry. I'm going to say hello to everyone who's here so far. Hi to lurkers. Hi to you, those of you watching on replay crew. Thank you so much for watching. Okay. Hi, Daniel. Good morning. Hi, David. Hi, Kelly. David's having a bowl of porridge. Wonder if Stephans having the same. Yeah, well, he was whinging about the food, isn't he? But, you know, he's got his commissary at nearly every phone call, or certainly every day, because sometimes he phones more than once a day. The commissary is a big thing, isn't it? You know, and it just even manipulates that, even manipulates his commissary. You know, because he asks for money for things and like those glasses. Anyway, we'll see that as we go along. Hi, Yvonne. Shared outrage coming up. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. You know, Stefan's dad, Chris, he was law enforcement. No, the way that I do feel, I mean, I'm sure in their life they've probably never done anything wrong, you know, in the sense of illegal. But they've never had the police at their door. And now this has all been landed out at them, what really should be their golden years, shouldn't it? Should be the time when, you know, their children are grown up. They've got another brother. As I say, the other brother's never mentioned at all in these calls. Which seems strange to me, really, because you'd think they say, oh, I don't even know what his name is. You know, he sends his love or something. No. I mean, I wonder if, because it isn't his other brother in the armed forces or something, or what. So his other brother, his one brother. I don't know much about his brother. But yeah, so his parents, really, they should be sort of settling down, breeding their poodles, just leading a quiet life, you know, in their golden years. And instead, they've got all this to contend with. And as I say, I really would feel sorry for them if Debbie didn't keep saying things like calling other people bitches, just for the fact that if people who've lost their daughter and their grandchild and their relative, they're just a load of bitches. All Stefan's friends are jealous of him and they're all this, that and the other. You know, so it's hard to feel sorry for Debbie because she's actually quite a nasty person who hides behind God and Jesus, but really wears her Christian charity. You'll see in one of these videos that we're going to watch, or audios we're going to listen to, she actually says, oh, well, it was Madeline's time. It was her time. She was 13, Debbie, you idiot. Honest to God, that just made me so angry. Oh, well, it was her time. Of course, it wasn't her time. Anyway, I'm getting angry. I haven't even started listening to it yet. Kelly. No, the mum is Debbie. Hi, Yvonne. The mum is Debbie and the dad is Chris. Okay, so are you ready? Are you buckled up? Have you got a stiff drink? Because you'll need one. You know, I don't have to drive today because my son's got a day off, so I will be having a little drinky poo later. There's no doubt about it. Looking forward to that. Maybe even during this video, depends how long we go on for. So I don't have to be worrying about going off and taking him to work or anything like that. Don't have to do any driving. So we'll just see where we go with the trouble is I get so angry. I'll be talking so much through the audio. They're probably, because they're only 15 minutes each one, but we've only listened to 2 so far. There's another 11, and you know, because I have to put in, as I say, in these videos, we're listening to the audio and I'm commenting on it, and I'll be showing some of your comments. But then I'm going to upload them all. I can't decide whether to upload just one big video with all of them or individually. I'll probably do the individual ones because they're shorter, that's all, and then people can just listen to them whenever they want without any commentary. Okay, Oh, congratulations to your son. Yeah, my son still hasn't done his. He keeps putting it off and putting it off. I wish he would do it. Yeah, congratulations to Kelly's son. Well, that'll help you. Like, you won't see much of him then. Yeah. No, I'm only joking. But at least, yeah, he's got his independence now. You don't have to be running around everywhere. And that's good, isn't it? Save you a lot on petrol as well. You have to pay his own petrol now, will he? Or will he? Or will it be Bank of Mum that pays his petrol? You know, probably a bit of both. Though he is working, isn't he? But, you know, that doesn't make any difference, does it? They still go to Bank of Mum. Okay, let's start watching this video. And as I say, be ready, because there's lots of things in this video.
To listen to your messages, please return to the main menu. Cents for the first minute and 21 cents for each additional minute.
Stearns. Debbie, Stephans.
Osceola County Corrections Department.
This call will be recorded and subject to monitoring at any time. Thank you for using IC Solutions. You may begin speaking.
Hey, is this a good time?
Hola. Yeah, I was on the phone with somebody else, and first time you called in and inadvertently hit the wrong button. Hang on, I'm gonna put you on speaker. Hang on. Okay, I got you.
Okay, can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Hey.
Somebody's in the well.
He's always in the well.
Yeah.
He's in a big room.
Yep, very echoey. Oh,
Did you get any of the books we sent yet?
no, not yet.
Oh, okay.
But I don't have.
So the saga of the books, you may remember if you watched the first video with the first couple of audios. This is saga of the books. They've sent him a load of books, but turns out later on they never checked it right from the beginning. But they were sent to the wrong address, so they're never getting to him, these books. That becomes a saga later on when they realise the books went to the wrong address. So no, they've not had the books.
Any notification of anything being sent back either. I had
Okay.
a
All right.
meeting with the mental health director a couple days ago. She said they're going to take me down a step in custody level. So I'm going to be taken off non-acute status, and as soon as a space opens up in one of the regular isolation cells, I'll be moved to one of those.
Okay, good.
Does that mean that we can get a document to you and we can get it signed now?
Possibly.
So he's being moved. That's the first thing he's telling them. He's being moved to a less, still isolation, but not so stringent. You know, he's not being, I suppose he's under self-deletion watch at the moment. I don't know. But anyway, so he's been moved to a new block. So straight away, Chris says, does that mean we can get a document to you that can be signed?
She said they won't put any restrictions on me.
Okay. All right. Well, that's good. And when is that supposed to happen?
What's that?
Well, when is that supposed to happen?
Whenever a space opens up in one of those cells.
Oh, okay. All right.
She's on space. This is a very crowded jail. There's over 2,000 inmates.
All right. And you'll still be in kind of isolated protection?
Yep, I'll still be in protective custody. I'll still be by myself. I just won't be under self-harm watch.
Oh, okay. All right.
And I won't be in any of the self-harm pods.
Okay.
So that's
all right. Well, I guess that's better accommodations. You'll have concierge services.
not likely, but you know, I might actually have a rack to put my mat on, so I'm not going to be on the floor. Maybe I'll have a seat and a table. Who knows? I won't be surrounded by crazies all the time.
Okay.
Or relatively so.
All right.
I won't be surrounded by crazies all the time. Oh my God, there's straight away the first. I won't be surrounded by crazies all the time. He's not crazy. He's not crazy. He's just been abusing a child from 8 years old, and he's been charged with murdering that same child. But he's not crazy. No. But he's surrounded by crazies. Poor Stefan.
That should be an improvement at least.
All right, sounds good.
Yep. Any other news or updates on your end?
No, everything's still status quo. Somebody sent us a link to a YouTube video that, these.
Now, this is where he starts to rage against YouTubers. Oh my God. I'll tell you what, whatever any of these YouTubers, including me, whatever anyone's done is not as bad as what Stephans done, is it? They haven't abused a child from the age of 8. They haven't red-rummed a child and hidden her body, dumped her. And just this total obliviousness to the severity of Stefan's crimes. To, rail against YouTubers. You'll hear it in a minute about, they're terrible what these YouTubers are doing. Terrible what his ex-friends are doing. None of them has done anything as bad as what Stefan's done. And Stefan gets all high and righteous. Anyway, you'll hear it, but be prepared.
Amateur sleuths just are relentless. I mean, they just go down any and every path they can go, and so this link to this YouTube video had tracked all your internet activity and all the sites that you had joined. The dark web.
Oh my God, how dare they? How dare they show Stefan up for what he is? Find all the sites he's joined on the dark web. Well, do you know there's an answer to that? If he hadn't have joined the sites on the dark web, he'd have nothing to get found, would he? They don't mention that at all. It's not like, why did you join all these sites? What's wrong with you? What on earth possessed you to do that? No, it's the YouTuber's fault for finding out. It's the YouTuber's fault for finding out. They're relentless, these YouTubers. Making money off it. Terrible. Disgusting. Finding out about what their son did wrong. That's terrible, apparently. Unbelievable.
Whatever, but some of the offbeat websites. So I'm sure you know what I'm referring to without me having to name them.
Okay.
So I'm just telling you that all that should exist out there. And oh, by the way, I sped through this 2-hour YouTube video, and
he sped through the 2-hour YouTube channel video. I think he probably watches everything. He'll watch everything. He won't speed through it. He'll watch every little thing. And I agree in a way, Kelly. I do think some of these, I wondered if this was like a message to YouTubers, but, not that it would make any, what YouTuber's going to watch this and think, oh dear, better not mention Stefan anymore because his dad's really annoyed about it. It's just not going to happen, is it? So, and I do think in some of the other calls, it's obvious that if they knew that these calls were going to be released publicly, because don't forget this is nearly a year ago before, I think if they would have known that, they would have been much more careful with some of the things that they said. Like I don't think Dippy Debbie would have said called the women in Jen's family a load of bitches. I do think so. Yeah, I was thinking that when I thought, are they trying to give a message to YouTubers, or are they trying to give it? They know the police are listening. I don't know that they know these calls will be released to the world, but they definitely know the prison service, the police, etc. are listening, and maybe they're trying to give them a message.
And your former roommates at the townhome that you rented have ratted you out in ways and fabricated stories.
So his former roommates have ratted him out and made up stories. Well, do you know what? Maybe they have, but it all comes down to the thing is, if Stefan wouldn't have done what he'd done and he wouldn't be in prison for red rum and S abuse, it wouldn't have happened, would it? So it's still Stefan's fault.
About a shared network drive and video that had been recorded, and supposedly approached your mother about them, threatening to disclose you in these videos, and that we paid them off, which was total bullshit. We've never heard about this until these videos and these asshole friends of yours have managed to get themselves on these YouTube channels and disclose all sorts of shit. Because I can tell you this, if any one of them, and we know who we're talking about, had come to us with that, we would have told them, feel free to do whatever you want. We're not paying you jack shit. If somebody had done something,
I think this is definitely a message to the police because, yeah, do you remember? I think it was on T-Rev. I think that was the name of the YouTube channel. That's a strange YouTube channel. But anyway, yeah, this friend came out, didn't he? Now, maybe it isn't true what the friend's saying. But I think this is like Chris has definitely brought this up because he wants to let the police know at least, or somebody know, that there's no way they would have given in to blackmail. They would never have paid. But what he's not realising is all these audio calls and the way that they talk about Stefan, talk to Stefan and deny what he's done, makes us believe them more, even if before we might have been a bit, because anyone could phone up and say, oh, I was Stefan's friend and this happened and that happened. People could say anything. And unless there's any evidence, we shouldn't believe everything that people say. But them doing these audio calls I think would make people think even more so that, they definitely probably did it. And Chris is bringing this up because it's almost like he's trying to make a public, say, look, there's no way we would have let anyone blackmail us. We would have done the right thing. We wouldn't have done the wrong thing. And there's a lot of talk about this. But it's like methinks he doth protest too much.
I suggest you pursue it with them or the authorities, but don't bring this up to our attention ever again. I can assure you that we would not have paid off anybody. It wouldn't have been our problem, and we wouldn't have paid for it, period.
So my former roommates are trying to blackmail you into paying them off?
No, they're claiming that.
Yeah, Stefan gets the whole wrong end of the stick there, and he says, what, they're trying to blackmail you into pay. So he's missed the point of what his dad is saying, that this is supposedly something that happened years ago, not now.
They had supposedly come to us and blackmailed us, and that we paid them money, which they've described it in two events, one at a restaurant, and then your mother supposedly showing up at the townhome with a manila envelope. And you and I know, and we all know, that is bullshit.
Yeah.
Didn't happen, didn't exist, never did it.
It never happened.
And if they had done that, I would have said, go ahead and do whatever you want. You're not getting a penny from me. It's not my problem, so don't even come to me with it, period.
Are they aware that blackmail and coercion is also illegal?
Well,
did you hear that? Are they aware that blackmail and coercion are also illegal? Oh my God, the prissy Stefan Stearns, who's abused a child from the age of 8 to 13 and then red rummed her. Are they aware that blackmail and coercion is illegal? Oh God, how dare they do anything illegal? Terrible. Honestly, this is just breathtaking. This guy thinks he's holier than thou. Prissy little shit he is, saying that, and after everything he's done, and they don't even challenge that. They should say to him, well, what you did was illegal, Stefan, but you still did it.
It's kind of a moot point when you're looking at the number of years ago this was, and right now it's their word, it's hearsay, but I'm just telling you what these amateur sleuths are repeating. Matter of fact, they even said that we owned the townhome, which we didn't.
We've been living in $1 million homes, and you were a spoiled, rotten kid because of it. And I'm thinking, we've never been in $1 million home.
But anyway, I'm just telling you the bullshit that goes on out there, which is why I don't pay attention to these YouTube videos. But I'm just telling you, your former roommates have.
So he said again, I don't pay any attention to YouTube videos. Well, Chris, if you're watching this, pay attention. Do you hear what your son just said? Do they know that coercion and blackmail is illegal? As if he's not done anything illegal. Just, come on, take a look at yourself, Chris, and the things you're saying. You're probably quite a sensible person, but what's going on here? Face up to it. You've just got to, you still love him, he's still your son. But you know what? All these things that you're saying, it just makes people think even more that maybe it is something, it is the way he's been brought up that's ended up like that. He's ended up the way he is. I personally don't think that. I think he's just a bad person. I think you've probably indulged him so much. I don't think you've been a bad father to him. I just think you've just indulged his every whim. But come on, take a look at yourself. Don't be blaming the YouTubers. Hi, Moonbeam. You can't keep blaming her. It's not his friend's fault. It's not the YouTuber's fault. It's not Jen's fault. It's nobody's fault except his. He's the one that had all the pictures, all the videos. Nobody else was on those pictures or videos. No one. Him. Only him. He's responsible.
Done a nice job of sabotaging or discrediting your character and what have you. So everybody's jumping on the bandwagon.
Oh, they're discrediting your character. Listen, nobody has to discredit his character. He did that himself. Chris, what do you think they should say? Oh, what a fabulous person he was. He was great. He was this, that, and the other, like Debbie does. He's like practical angel in her eyes. Nobody has discredited Stephans' character except Stephan. With his phone call, his photos on his phone, the videos on his phone, and the fact that he took this little girl, your step-grandchild, who you don't seem to care about at all, he took her and dumped her like a piece of rubbish. And everything he says, you lap it up. You lap it up and take his excuses. And then you say that other people are trying to blacken his character. Nobody's blackening his character. He blacked his own character. Face it. You've got to face it.
Throwing you under the bus and what have you, but I'm just relating this story of that's been repeated a few times about some video being recorded in the townhome, and that they came to us.
So they're throwing him under the bus. He's so far under the bus, he's part of the bus. Do you know? He's thrown himself under the bus. Not them. They haven't thrown him under the bus. He's done it.
Requesting, and we pleaded with them not to disclose it, and we paid them off, which is just absolute bullshit.
You should be very careful about that because they're seriously opening themselves up to a lawsuit for defamation.
Listen to that, the prissiness of it. Well, they should be really careful about that because they're opening themselves up to a lawsuit against defamation. Oh, I bet they're trembling in their boots. I bet they're terrified. Ooh. Let's just listen to that, you prissy little butt mushroom. They should be careful about that because they're opening themselves up.
Of sabotaging or discrediting your character and what have you. So everybody's jumping on the bandwagon, throwing you under the bus and what have you. But I'm just relating this story of that's been repeated a few times about some video being recorded in the townhome, and that they came to us requesting, and we pleaded with them not to disclose it, and we paid them off, which is just absolute bullshit.
You should be very careful about that because they're seriously opening themselves up to a lawsuit for defamation.
Oh, that is when. So Stefan's passive aggression You see, when his voice goes even higher and more whiny like that, that's when he's angry. He's angry now. But I bet that's the only anger you ever see from Stefan, because he keeps it under control, doesn't it? It's this passive aggression. But I just, honest God, that was one of the times where I just went, oh my God, they should be very careful about. So does he really think he's going to sue them from prison, where he's in prison, facing the death penalty for more than 2 crimes, but, two trials he's facing, murder and sex abuse. He's going to sue them for defamation of character. Come on, the delusion. Now, what Chris should, he does say to him, oh, well, there's no point in doing it and that. But what he should say is exactly what I've just said. Well, Stefan, what are you going to do? You're going to prosecute them. You're going to take a lawsuit out against them while you're awaiting trial for sex abuse and murder of a 13-year-old girl. He needs a reality check. These parents aren't reality checking him at all. They're just going along with whatever he says and making excuses for him.
Well, it takes money to sue somebody, and you have to prove it. And so no one's going to take a case like that pro bono, and it's not worth chasing. And you have to prove damage.
No, it's not worth chasing, because anyway, they've got no. It's probably true anyway. He knows it's probably true. It's not worth chasing because you're in prison for murder and abuse.
Damages, and we haven't suffered any damages. But I'm just telling you the bullshit that's floating out there.
Yeah,
That's crazy.
Yeah,
crazy.
But anyway, they've done their search, and they've discovered some of these websites that you've subscribed to, participated in, or what have you. So I'm just giving you a heads up that they are leaving no stone unturned as they go down a rat hole chasing this shit.
So they're leaving no stone unturned, chasing this shit, going down a rat hole. But they found the sites that he's been on. Not once does Chris say, what were you on those sites for? What were you doing on those sites? He doesn't challenge his behavior at all. This man has never had his behavior challenged at all by these parents. And that is the problem right there. He's a bad person as well. There's lots of people get spoiled but don't end up doing what he's done. But you can see how he's felt that he had the right almost to do it. He's done whatever he wanted all his life.
Crazy.
Yep. Yeah.
Don't even try to figure out why they did it, because we can't figure out why they did it, except
Who did it?
the roommate.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, don't try and figure out why they did it. We can't figure out why they did it. Well, they did it because it's true, probably. And and your son's a murderer and abuser, allegedly. That's why they did it. Face the truth, for God's sake. You still love him. He's still your son. I get that completely. But don't make excuses for him. I think it's terrible.
Moves on past that.
Yeah, but the thing is that these YouTube sites give people a chance to talk with complete immunity, because they never check them. They never fact check them. They don't care about the facts. They just care about getting people to click on and pay them money for the YouTube.
They don't fact check him. They don't do the, do you know what? Maybe she's right in a way, but I'll tell you what, whatever any of these YouTubers have done, even if those stories were not true, still none of it is as bad as what your son has done. So, even if we presume that, it is all lies and it was just grifting and trying to make money from, giving stories that weren't true, it's still not as bad as what your son has done, Debbie. So face it.
Right. So,
and supposedly these hosts of these YouTube channels pay these people to provide this information as well. So whatever that's worth.
And some roommate.
Oh yeah, the roommate. That's really funny. So reading this interview of the former roommate said that both you and were grossly overweight and you both had gastric bypass. I mean, I'm just telling you, this shit is just what? I don't. They didn't disclose her name, okay? But you know, to say that you had gastric bypass, which you've never had, and that you were grossly overweight, which you never were, again, is the bullshit that's just floating out there on these YouTube channels.
Well, I mean, I had gastric bypass, but
Yep.
it's not a big deal.
That's strange, isn't it? I mean, I sort of remember this interview from last year or whatever. I couldn't remember that about the gastric bypass. So, he thinks that's quite funny, Chris, by the sound of it. He was laughing at that you were morbidly obese, but you've had a gastric bypass. You know, now I don't know whether that's true, not true, probably not true, but I mean, and listen, don't get me wrong, it's wrong if people are out there saying things that aren't true about Stefan. Of course it's wrong. But it's still, as I say, not as bad as what Stefan has done.
I understand. But they're saying that you had it, you know?
They're saying that you refused to take her bipolar meds, which she was very forgetful, you know, and didn't do a lot. But they were saying that it was not ADHD, but they thought she was autistic. And like going, no, she wasn't.
Well,
She wasn't autistic.
it was a question mark. You know, you had one doctor saying that she was possibly on the spectrum.
Yeah. So then she says that these YouTubers are saying that Madeline was autistic, but no, she wasn't. And then he says, there was a question mark. You know, that house was so overdiagnosed. There's a lot of talk these days about overdiagnosis, and I completely agree with it. That house, they were all on tablets, all of them, even Madeline, at her age. They thrived on, you know, overdiagnosis of, the question mark about autism. She had ADHD, she had this, she had that. And in the meantime, but nobody diagnosed the fact that she was being abused. You know, it was just, I think there's too much emphasis on those things, and maybe they should have looked into her home life more. I'm wondering why she was turning up to school, falling asleep at the desk, or why she had what they called was ADHD, because her nights were she was drugged at night and RAPED'd by a pseudo stepdad. You know, so that whole family, all of them, their life revolved around taking tablets and going to doctor's appointments and what have you. You know, instead of, and I think, you know, Jen was like that, and it rubbed off on Madeline. It would do if you were brought up in a household like that. You'd end up like that as well, wouldn't you? You know, that's the way I think of it. And that's what gave Stefan, I think, the opportunity to drug Madeline. I think, you know, on those photos and videos of her, she was unconscious. Or they said it looked like she was asleep. He was drugging her, he was most 100% drugging her, and probably Jen as well. And it just, you know, what I've thought about recently, because of what he's saying now that he found her dead, that's what he's saying. That's going to be his defense. He left the room for a couple of hours, apparently, came back, and there she was, dead. And she was far gone. There's no point in phoning an ambulance. So, you know, he just loaded her up in the car and took her and dumped her like rubbish. I mean, it's so ridiculous. But this is the story he's coming towards now, that he just found her dead and either she's done it herself. But if that's true, that she did die of, you know, so many drugs in the system, that'd be him that'll have given him her, not her. But that's my opinion anyway, but we'll see.
Another saying, no, it doesn't seem like it. She's just ADHD. And other doctors didn't know. So it was a question mark.
Yeah. But anyway, it's a three-ring circus out there with these YouTube channels, which is why I don't watch them. Your mother doesn't watch them, but every now and then somebody sends us a link to something. And
I think he does watch them. Hi, Chris.
Like I said, I sped viewed it, and you know, came away with a little bit of information and a lot of bad information, misinformation, inaccurate information, but it is what it is, and so I'm not going to bother with it. You know, you have to consider the source and the validity of it, and everybody's highly speculative about whatever they come across, and then they try to make something monumental out of it that doesn't exist, you know.
Oh, yeah, so it's all the YouTubers' fault, trying to make something monumental out of nothing. It's nothing, this. No, doesn't he realise why this case is attracting so much attention? It's not, I'm sure there'll be some people out there that are grifting off this case. That's just the way of the world. But, you know, I think a lot of people, they really are concerned about what happened to Madeline. Sometimes it feels like other people care about Madeline more than, like these people that were her step-grandparents. They should care more about Madeline. Jen should have cared more about Madeline. You know, you feel like Madeline was surrounded by so many people. She had a big extended family, but she didn't feel she could talk to anyone. Her dad, her biological dad, she didn't feel she could talk to him. You know, he gets away with a lot, in my opinion, because why was he not wondering why she had all these problems? You know, I'm not blaming him. I mean, nobody's to blame, but the parents should ask questions, even estranged parents. Don't forget that he and Stefan were good friends. Stefan manipulated him as well. Stefan is a master manipulator. He's a groomer, and a groomer not only of children, but of their families. And that even his own parents is grooming them all the time. So, yeah. Now, as you say, Kelly, so other YouTube channels like probably, what's it called, Court TV and that, Vinnie Politan, they've been saying that the cause of death was strangulation, but we haven't had the forensic report, so I don't know what the actual official cause of death is. Just don't know. I've heard all sorts of things, but I haven't heard an official confirmation of what the cause of death is. So personally, I'll wait until I get that. It's just the way the way he's talking now, or in these videos, audios, that he found her. This is the defense he's going to give, isn't it? Nothing to do with him. He popped out of the room for 2 hours, he said. Where he went, God knows. He says he popped out for 2 hours, and when he went back, she was dead. And he knew she was dead. No point in calling emergency services. She was blue. She was dead. So he knew that. So he didn't bother. So he set about this. So because I have always been thinking, well, why did he do it? I'm just wondering now. Makes sense, doesn't it? That he drugged her up, maybe. Maybe this is what his modus operandi was. Maybe he would give her some drugs, make her a drink, then he would wait an hour or so until she was in a really deep sleep. And that's when he would start abusing her. Now, maybe when he went back to start abusing her, maybe it's true he did find her there. But he did it one way or another. Nobody else did it. He did it. It's just how did he do it, and why did he do it, and was it an accident?
I don't know how they can even find jurors that haven't listened to some of this crap.
Yeah.
They can't.
It's tainted. It's tainted. The whole thing is tainted now.
Yeah, they might have to shop it out to a different venue, but even at that point, I think it's going to be hard to find anyone who hasn't heard about all this.
Yeah.
Well, that's true, and the minute they do hear about it, they're going to go in, and even though they're not supposed to, they're going to go in and check the internet, and they're going to see these things, they're going to believe this stuff because they don't know the difference between truth and non-truth.
Fact and fiction.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's nothing.
So everybody else
There's nothing.
know.
If I go in and say.
They don't know the difference between truth and not truth. Everybody else. Stefan, of course, never lies. Never lies, does he, Debbie? Hey, Debbie, your son, he never tells a lie, does he?
You people are idiots. You know this never happened. And
people are idiots. You're not an idiot, though, are you, Debbie? No, you're not an idiot. Of course, you're not. You're not an idiot. Stefan's not an idiot, but it's all the rest of the world are idiots, aren't they? Not you, though. I think people might have a different opinion, Debbie. I'm sorry, but you're delusional.
I can't do that. because it won't do you good.
You don't want to engage with it.
So, no, don't want to give them. They're not worthy of the merit of any comments, and they can just enjoy themselves. And then when the truth comes out, then they'll have to do a lot of backtracking. Yeah, right. Okay, sure.
When the truth comes out, oh my God, I can't wait for the truth to come out, Chris. Then we'll see who's got to do the backtracking.
But anyway,
I will tell you this, Stephans. You know that we're saved people. You know that we're Christians, and you know that these people came to us many times for help in their living situations, and you know that we helped all of them. I don't understand.
Now, Debbie makes a big thing about being a Christian. She's a Christian. They help these people. She's a Christian. Yeah, well, but Jen and her family are a load of bitches. That's not very Christian, is it? That's not very Christian. It's like she's only got Christian values as far as Stephans concerned. Everybody else can fuck off. They can just go and sort themselves out. She hasn't got any Christian values as far as they're concerned. Only her little Stefan. He needs to be forgiven, but not anyone else. No, they can all fuck off to hell in a handcart.
Understand why these kids think it's so wonderful to jump on this bandwagon and crucify us when we were there for them when they needed us. I don't understand that.
She's being
Because
crucified.
we have fallings out for various reasons.
How dare she relate herself to Christ? If you believe, if you're a believer in Christ, you'd be outraged, wouldn't you? I'm a sort of a not quite sure but leaning towards it person. I'm outraged. How dare she compare herself? They're being crucified. You're not being crucified. The people who are being crucified was Madeline. Yeah, she's the one that suffered, and her family is suffering because they've lost her. Her family that you refer to as a load of bitches, they're suffering. You're not suffering. You don't even care about Madeline. All you care about is little Stefan, Diddums, your little Johnny, who's been so wronged. Honest to God, you call yourself a Christian. You are not a Christian.
And they can't resist the temptation to kick me while I'm down because they think they can do it with impunity.
Absolutely.
They didn't have the balls to do it when I was free.
what's that?
So they didn't have the balls to do it while I was free.
Yeah.
Well, they were jealous. You know who was always.
They didn't have the balls to do it while he was free. They didn't have the balls to do it while I was free. That's when you know that Stefan's angry, when his voice, like somebody said earlier, I think it was Angel. Yeah, when he comes in this Mickey Mouse voice, that's when he's angry. He's angry now. Didn't have the balls to do it when I was free. God, just unbelievable. Oh, so listen to this one now, Debbie. Starts blaming, they were always jealous of him. They're all jealous of her little Stefan.
The one with the little, very, very something on his back, the mouth.
The
I
man.
was always so jealous of you.
Yeah, so she's calling him a name. So I don't know where she said, oh, the one with the little, does she mean butter mushroom? I don't know what she's saying, but the mouse. So she's insulting the boy that was his friend. So she's going to character assassinate him now. They're saying about saying that the character assassinating Stefan, who has done it to himself because of his own actions, now she's going to character assassinate this friend of his by saying he's jealous. God.
He's so jealous of you. And
He sabotaged me at every turn. I mean, if you remember when I was working Quiznos, I was in lines for management, so he started working there. Then suddenly everyone's attitude towards me changed, and he became the manager.
Yeah. I was working, and God knows where he was working, so I did work at some point for about 30 seconds somewhere. I was in line for management, then he started working there, and then everyone turned against me, and suddenly he became a manager. Oh my God. Oh my God. And then he said, I don't know if we've missed it, he said something about then they all started thinking I was a complete moron. Well, you are a complete moron, Stefan. If the baseball cap fits, wear it. You are a complete moron. You're worse than a moron. You're a monster. I'd rather be a moron than a monster. God, honestly. Listen, don't think this is the worst one either. Wait till you hear the others. Debbie does not believe he did this. He's been framed for it, according to her. God, unbelievable.
Yeah.
When they were jealous, you know who was always the one with the little, very, very something on his back, the mouth.
Oh,
He
yeah.
was always so jealous of you. He's so jealous of you.
Jealous.
And,
He sabotaged me at every turn. I mean, if you remember when I was working Quiznos, I was in line for management, so he started working there. Then suddenly everyone's attitude towards me changed, and he became a manager.
Oh,
Yeah. Yeah.
well, that's what he does.
And, you know, there were people in our friends group who, for some reason, were under the impression that I was a complete moron.
you are.
Mm.
He said there are people in our friends group that became under the impression I was a complete moron. That's because you are a complete moron. Much as maybe your mum doesn't want to believe it and your dad doesn't want to believe it, but you are a complete moron who abused a little girl from 8 years old. Let's just have a look. This little girl that you abused, that when she was a little girl, yeah, you are a complete moron. You're worse than a moron. As I say, I'd rather be a moron than be you, what you've done. So Debbie and Chris, if you're watching this, remember Madeline. Remember her when she was little? Well, she was still little when she died. She was only 13, for God's sake. But when she was even littler, 6 years before that, he started abusing her. Come on, wake up, smell the coffee. Your son is more than a moron. He's a monster. And if you can't see it, honestly, you just need help. You really need
they
help.
should check your IQ score.
Well, I know he was backstabbing and trying to put himself above me at every opportunity.
Yeah.
Found out a while back that he was even stealing my possessions and selling them.
Like what?
Airsoft guns. I mean, my street board went missing. A lot of my Pokemon cards went missing. There's the one missing.
Are you talking about when you got the roommates, he was stealing your stuff and selling it?
Yep.
No surprise.
Nope.
I believe that.
Now, see that straight away. What, you're saying that he was stealing your stuff and selling it? Oh, I believe that. So they believe every bad thing about everybody else, but they don't believe anything bad about their son. Their son was stealing their stuff, their money, and selling it. It's like it's okay for him to do it. You know, these are the friends he was hanging around with. His friend probably was doing that, and apparently he goes on to say he was stealing his parents' stuff as well. And he was a liar. Maybe he was all those things. But I'll tell you what, you know, you judge a person by the company they keep. They were all like that. They were wasters, you know. Was Stefan any different? Why can they not see it? They can see it with everybody else, but you can't.
He needed to support his lifestyle somehow, and did the same thing with his parents' crap too. So,
yeah.
What else?
I know he peddled his dad's pills.
Yeah, he was a first class citizen. We all know that, which is why he got kicked out of his house.
Yeah, and anyway, I'm going to call you.
So Chris says he was a first class citizen who got turfed out of his house. He didn't abuse a child or murder a child, though, did he, Chris? Might not have been the perfect person, might have been a horrible person, but he did not do what Stefan did, what your little boy did he? But you don't think it's his fault. It's his friend's fault. He was jealous. Unbelievable. Absolutely, it is
Be back
unbelievable.
in 15 minutes if I can, because we got the 1 minute line.
All right, later.
All right, bye.
Okay, so that one's over. We're going to look at the next one. So don't think that you've heard everything. You haven't. It gets worse. It gets much worse. Right, so that was number 3. So number 4.
0, 2, 1. Balance is $25
Just
and
when you think
90.
you've heard it all, it gets worse.
Hello, you have a call at no expense to you from
Stephans turn.
an inmate at
Osceola County Corrections.
this call will be recorded and subject to monitoring at any time. Thanks for using IC Solutions. You may begin speaking.
Hey, Chris.
Hey, I'm back.
Yay.
So,
Yay!
spent the last 15 minutes thinking about these yahoos.
Yeah.
So he calls them yahoos. That's the other thing that I cannot bear about Stefan. He uses all these weird expressions, doesn't he? He speaks in expressions. Yeah, I've been thinking about these yahoos. Yeah, I did a Yui. Oh, I did that. You know, he uses these sort of, I don't know, childish expressions. He's such a child. I've been thinking about these yahoos.
Worth the time.
Can't believe that. It's
Well, it's true.
for all of them that they would try to do this kind of.
You know, these are the same ones that came to you for help, and
He can't believe that they would do this. Well, we can't believe what you did, Stefan. We can't believe what you did. You know, and whatever they've done, it's not as bad as what you've done.
were always saying what a good friend you were, and you would keep all their secrets for them and stuff. But yet they don't have any secrets of yours. They'll make them up just so that they can make themselves sound big on YouTube. You know,
Yep.
it's a sad situation when people are that desperate for attention.
Yep.
Especially when Sir Lancelot was the one going to community college to learn how to be a computer programmer, and he's the only one who could have set up a network if there ever was one. So forget that. That's bullshit.
I'm
You
sure
know, he did it if anybody did it.
paid for information and decided he would make some stuff up and get paid on my account.
Yep.
Whoever paid him ought to get a refund because he fleeced them.
They don't care. Do you know how much money they made off of it? To have all this purulent information on you, to have people click on. These people are vultures. They're worse than that.
Oh yeah.
Because they don't wait till you're dead.
They're vultures. We're all vultures. YouTubers, we're vultures. What is your son? What is your son, I wonder? YouTubers are vultures. What is your son, Debbie? Let's have a description of him. What kind of person is Stefan? So all these YouTubers that you call him vultures, none of them have done what he's done. So, you know, take a look at yourself. Take a look at your son and what you're saying. Calling everybody else names. Vultures, bitches, this, that, and the other. That's the sort of person you are. You know, the more I've listened to these audio calls, the more I really understand so much more how Stefan is the way he is.
To feed on you.
Yeah. Well.
Anyway, how are you doing?
You know, I'm hanging in there. Keeping up as best as I can. Did a little bit of exercise today.
Oh, good.
Good.
The gastric
Push-ups, crunches, squats, leg lifts, whatever.
Whatever you can do.
Well, see if you can ask somebody about the book order and see, you know, I don't know how long it takes to have these items delivered, but I don't know.
We had
we haven't gotten any indication that they've been returned, so they're in the system, so I don't know how long it takes for you to get them.
Yeah.
So we're back to the books again. They still haven't worked out that maybe they should check that they were sent to the right address yet.
Haven't gotten any indication that they've been returned either, so still waiting to hear on that. But, been praying a lot.
Oh, I've been praying a lot.
Good.
Good.
He hears you. God hears your prayers.
God hears your prayers. God hears your prayers, Stefan. I mean, he probably does, because you know that is God. But she's just breathtaking, isn't she? God hears your prayers. Sod the mother who's lost her child, or the rest of the family that's lost the member of their family. They're just bitches. But God hears your prayers.
I've been praying for deliverance as well, but I don't know.
Well, Proverbs shows you how to live. Romans shows you how God forgives. So those are the two I would look at.
I've been praying to him to deliver me from all this and give me a chance to get my life.
Oh, yeah, sorry, I should. Let's listen to that again. So he says he's praying to God to help him and give him a chance to get his life back together.
How God forgives. So those are the two I would look at.
I've been praying to him to deliver me from all this and give me a chance to get my life back on track, but there might be some kind of slim chance, but I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to jinx anything or get anybody's hopes up. But I'm going to try. Worth a try anyway.
Well, they need to get her out of the hospital where she can be interviewed by the police.
Yeah. So Jen must have been in the hospital then, because they said she just said, honestly, that I dislike this woman so much, and every time I hear these audios, I dislike her even more, because she's unbelievably callous to everyone except her son. They need to get her out of the hospital and start questioning her. She thinks Jen's done this, or Jen's had something to do with it. You know, and you know what I think. I don't think Jen's had anything to do with it, except she was stupid and she should have taken more care, blah, de, blah, de, blah. But she's got to live with that for the rest of her life. Even he says in one of the videos, oh, well, she has lost her daughter. It's coming to something when even Stephans has to stick up for you against his own mother, because she's such a bitch. She only cares about Stefan. Where's her Christian charity for a mother who's lost her daughter, or a grandma who's lost her granddaughter, or the rest of the family, or a father, a biological father that's lost his daughter? Where's her Christian charity for them? She hasn't got any. So she's just angry because Jennifer is in a hospital. She's probably having a bloody nervous breakdown, and Stefan is in a prison. She's so angry with Jen, and but not because she cares about Madeline. I know a lot of people are angry with Jen, you know, because they feel like Jen should have seen signs and blah, de, blah, de, blah, and possibly. But she's not angry with Jen because of Madeline. She's angry with Jen because of Stefan. She's not angry at Jen how she let Madeline down, like a lot of people are. She's angry with Jen how she let Stefan down.
Ruined all her family in, all those bitches. They were sitting there at the grandmother's house calling 911 and being ugly to them.
This is where she says the bitches, all those there, all those bitches.
Ruined all her family in, all those bitches.
All those bitches. There you go. If you're watching Debbie or Chris, or I hope you are watching, that is you, the real you. You're not a Christian woman. You're not a Christian woman saying that, all those bitches, just defending your horrible monster son. You're not a Christian woman. Somebody described you as a toxic Christian earlier. That's exactly what you are. As a Christian, I'm ashamed of people like you pretend to be Christians. Honestly, literally ashamed of the way you're talking about those women. Not because you care about Madeline, as I say, because you care about this one.
They were sitting there at the grandmother's house calling 911 and being ugly to the 911 operators.
Yeah.
They already knew what had happened. They all knew. And none of them were acting scared. None of them were acting concerned. They were talking like we're talking now. Like there wasn't really anything big going on.
Well, I wouldn't get so carried away with any conspiracy theories.
You don't have to be a conspiracy theory to see the writing on the wall.
Well, at any rate, that's probably not going to help me anyways.
He doesn't, do you know, even he doesn't want to get involved with the things she's saying. Even Stefan, you know, he's not going along with the things she's saying. He's coming to something when he's protecting people more than her. Oh my God. It's so messed up, this. It's so fucked up. It is completely fucked up, her attitude.
Well, don't give up anything. Don't give up on anything.
Well, I'm not. I'm holding on to hope until there's nothing left to hold on to.
Well, when you get to the end of the rope, you tie a knot in it and still hang on.
Yeah, hang yourself.
I know. Scott here, praying to God for strength and serenity, and He's given me.
The thing she says, when you get to the end of the rope, you tie a knot in it and still hang on. Just unbelievable. Honestly, she's so weird. Is she on something? I mean, she must be on some delusional psychotic drugs or something. It's unbelievable.
That, especially lately, I've noticed I've just been overcome by an overwhelming sense of calm and serenity.
Oh, good.
He's working on you. I pray for every day. I pray for him to put fences of protection around you.
Do you know what? So Chris, I do think Chris has cottoned on, really. Chris doesn't say as much as she does. He obviously, when she's not there, he says a lot more. But he goes, oh, good. There's sometimes the way Chris says things, you just know. He knows his wife is a loon, but she's his wife. But then other times, Chris does stick up for Stefan as well, doesn't he? And blame everybody else. Not to the same extent as her, but he does still excuse Stefan. But yeah, oh good. He doesn't. Chris, every now you can hear in Chris's voice that he knows really inside, but he's got to live with this loon.
And hear you calling him.
You can hear.
I have been, and thank him for granting me that serenity. Just been thinking about, how he works, how he uses hardship as a vehicle to move you.
Yeah.
Human
I was in the kitchen making sandwiches, and I started laughing in the kitchen because we were talking about all these people saying stuff, about networks being set up and videos and blackmail and an envelope full of cash. And I'm thinking, damn, they've been watching some movies, haven't they?
I know, I was thinking that too.
Yeah, they've been watching some horror movies, Deborah. Horror movies where this guy inveigled himself into a woman's life and started abusing her daughter when she was 8 years old. And then later on, just after her 13th birthday, he murdered her and dumped her in a woodland area. Yeah, that's the sort of movies people have been watching. So whatever people are saying on YouTube, whether it's true or not, it's not as incredible, as horrible, as horrific as what your son has done. Let's not forget that, Debbie.
A bad spy movie.
I know.
If you go to the house to pay them off, why would you have bothered putting the cash in a manila envelope if you were going to be inside the house?
Who knows? But then the other one is I went to a restaurant and slid it across the table to them.
I know. Like, what is that? Why not both payments at the house? Wouldn't that have made more sense?
Well, none of it makes sense, and I keep telling Chris, I said, why can't I just offer to go take lie detector test and put all this to bed. But
And if you're going to bring a large wad of cash, why would you take it out of the bank envelope to put it into a big manila envelope just to take it inside to a house and hand it to somebody?
What difference does it make? They're obsessing about this claim that they think is false and not talking at all about what he's done. Do you see what they're doing? It's all about what other people have done. Poor Stefan. These friends that are jealous of him. Everyone's jealous of him. Jen setting him up. All those bitches in the family. Poor Stefan. Everyone conspiring against him. Not one word about what he's done.
why would I give it to those wads of bubble gum anyway? They have the mental capacity of a 2-year-old.
He was a terrible liar anyway. He lied about big things. He lied about little things. He lied to women all the time. He lied.
He was a terrible liar. He lied about little things, big things. He lied to women. Unlike Kim, eh? He didn't lie, did he? He's never told a lie in his life, Mr. Perfect. Like Mr. I factory reset my phone by accident. That wasn't a lie, was it, Stefan?
Just to, I don't know, make himself seem cooler or maybe gain more acceptance. He just lied. He's one of those people that lied for no reason. It's like, buddy, you don't have to lie. Like, we already lied to you. You're already our friend. There's no need to lie or build your...
He's talking about himself here. One of those people who lie for no reason. That is Stefan.
Up,
Because they're a habitual liar, and it's hard when you're a liar to keep the truth straight because you change it every time you tell somebody something.
Exactly, Debbie. You are describing your own son. Notice Chris is quiet through this. I think Chris is probably thinking. Chris knows that Stefan's a liar. That's what he's still in denial about a lot of things, but he's not quite as in denial about Loopy Debbie. He's not quite as much in denial about her. God.
I just used to laugh it off and dismiss it.
Yeah, well, it's weird. Just some weird. They're so weird. I don't know.
Yeah.
They're so weird. They're weird. Not normal like you, son. Not normal like you, son, who's awaiting a trial for 600 images of children, drugged children that you're abusing, and for the murder of your stepchild, ostensibly. Yeah, all these weird people out there. God, terrible, isn't it, Debbie? All these weirdos.
Whatever. He was probably counting his money, walking away laughing, saying, "Thank you, Stephan."
Yeah, probably.
Whatever.
These people have they don't have a moral compass. They have no conscience. They have nothing redeeming about them. I'm sure.
Oh my God, they don't have a moral compass. Do you know, I wonder if she's watching these things now thinking, oh my God, now Chris is quiet. I'm sure he's thinking, oh my God. So these people, not him, but these other people have got no moral compass, no conscience. He left Madeline in a field for, was it 5 days before she was found? Just like a piece of trash. That's what he did. But his friends have got no moral compass. Debbie, if you're watching this, or Chris, I hope you are watching it, just think about that. What is going on here? Good God.
God can find something, but he's going to have to dig.
Well,
and I don't think they're looking to him for anything anyway. So
he definitely didn't have any honor or integrity. It's one of the reasons I ended up cutting them out of my life.
no.
You can't miss a minute of this. You just can't miss a minute because everything is a nugget of a ridiculous thing. So he's just said, oh yeah, he had no moral integrity. That's why I ended up cutting him out of my life. So I'm Mr. fucking moral integrity, me. I'm Mr. Moral Integrity, so I couldn't have someone like that in my life. Oh my God.
It just took me too long to do it. Back to what I was saying, I was thinking about, how God uses hardship as a vehicle to move people.
Right.
You know, human nature being what it is, you know, even if we're not where we're supposed to be in life, we'll stay there if we're comfortable enough. We won't make any changes, and so God uses.
Well, Stefan, you're not going anywhere. You're not going anywhere. You're not, whether you're comfortable or not, you're in prison, you idiot.
Hardship as motivation and a vehicle to move us to where we need to be in life.
You know what he did with me and Dinky? I remember standing in that pasture over his body.
Then she starts talking about one of her poodles. Remember what he did with me and Binky? She brings her poodles into everything. Now, I love my dogs. I love them with a passion, as you know, but some things are more important than dogs, like this girl's life, for example. She don't care about that. It's just what he did to her and Binky, about Binky. She's unbelievable. And as you say, David, this is a goldmine for a clinical psychiatrist. And do you know what? These audio calls are going to go down in YouTube history. People are going to play them, analyze them, because it is unbelievable. And it just, to me, it just, as you know, what I think about denial, you can never underestimate how someone can deny. I hope I'm never in a position where I have to find out how good I'd be at denial. I think, you know, I don't know the way I feel at the moment, but you don't know until you're there, that if something like this ever happened to me with my loved one, my son, or one of my family, I would still, you know, they'd still be one of my family, but I would encourage them to tell the truth. I'd like to feel that I would say, look, I love you no matter what. I'll always love you, which she does say to him on a few occasions. And I think that's fair enough. You know, he is her son. But I would encourage them to tell the truth. I wouldn't be just going along with everything they said, especially with his history of lies. You know, and he's nearly 40 years old, this guy. That's the other thing. He talks as if he's a child. It was the big purple dragon and the mouse droid. Later on, he talks about, you know, how he's just a kid, you know, not listening to his parents. He's nearly 40. Come on. It's like these audio calls, they are going to go down in YouTube history. It's like parallel universe, full scale parallel universe.
Flipping God off and telling him how much I hated him, but that was the reason that I got saved. Because I lost Binky.
Well, you know,
She got
all this
saved
happened
because she
and,
lost Binky.
you know, passed away, and that immediately brought me back to God. That was the first thing I did, was begged God to take me and spare her. And
So, everybody who loves somebody will do that. So,
I haven't stopped praying.
No. No, if you love somebody, you would rather take their pain than have them have it.
Yeah, you know, I would have died for her, but you know, I told God, you know, I said, I see what you did. You immediately brought me back to you, and that I had strayed for a long time, and you know, message received. You know, my eyes are open. I just wish it didn't have such a high price attached to it. And it's just, I don't know.
You know, sometimes you have to look at why it was taken, and it was her time.
It was her time.
God knows what's going to happen.
This is to me, this is the worst thing that she says. Well, I'll say that. There'll probably be something else that will occur to me. So you hear Stefan now talking about Madeline like he loved her. And he feels that God did this to him to bring him back to God. So as if God would take the life of a 13-year-old child, or make him take the life of a 13-year-old child just to bring Stefan back into the fold. That is proper narcissism, isn't it? Oh, God sent me this challenge to bring me back to God. I'd missed God and I'd moved away from God. So he took Madeline, or, you know, because he's not admitting that he did it. And then she says it was her time. That's unforgivable, Debbie. If you're watching, or Chris, if you're watching, saying that is unforgivable. How dare you say it was her time? Was not her time. He took her life from her. He took her future from her. He took it. Your little golden balls son, golden button mushroom son. He took Madeline's life away. It was not her time. And you call yourself a Christian. You should be barred from the church. I would bar you from the church. You give Christians a bad name. Let's listen to that again.
Have them have it.
Yeah, I would have died for her. But, I told God, I said, I see what you did. You immediately brought me back to you, and that I had strayed for a long time. And, message received. My eyes are open. I just wish it didn't have such a high price attached to it. And it's just, I don't know.
Sometimes you have to look at why it was taken, and it was her time.
Her time.
God knows what's going to happen to you when you're born. He knows every moment of your life that's coming. So,
I know he has a plan, and
every
day I've been reaffirming to myself and reassuring myself that I have to be patient and maintain my faith, and have faith that he has a plan for me, whatever it may be, that it will be revealed in time, and that all I
hope so.
Is be patient and maintain my faith in him and trust.
Well, you got to trust him. You got to maintain your sanity. You got to maintain your cool. And like Xavier told me, when he was in jail, the only thing that saved him was trying to keep a sense of humor about the situation, even though it was terrible.
Did you hear that? She said when someone, I don't know who it was in jail, the thing he told me that kept him going was keeping a sense of humor. This woman is mad. I mean, she is mad. Debbie, you are mad. Even Stefan calls you out for things, and he's the monster. He's the monster, and he calls you out. He'll call you out in a minute. He says he hasn't got a sense of humour. The only thing that kept this other guy going when he was in prison was keeping his sense of humour. She is loopy. She's the one that should be on bloody Xanax or whatever they go on for depression or... what do you go on for just being a lunatic? Just crazy woman. Chris, come on. Chris is quiet through this. I do think Chris knows she's a loon. But then sometimes he's a loon as well.
I don't have much of a sense of humor anymore, to be honest. Very large part of me died when she did.
Yeah, I don't have much of a sense of humour anymore, to be honest, he said. Part of me died when she did. Now, the way he goes on to talk about Madeline, he's in love with Madeline. He thought he was having a relationship with Madeline. I've said it right from the beginning. This man is not emotionally mature. In his head, he's still 13 with his big purple dragon and his mouse droids and his trading cards and his Warhammer and Tamagotchis or whatever. He is not all there emotionally. He's not mature emotionally. He's nearly 40 age-wise. In his head, he is Madeline's age. He's still rooted in Madeline's age. He thought he was having a relationship with her. He did. And this woman can't accept it.
Well,
I'm not the same person anymore, and I don't think I ever will be. There's some wounds that just don't ever heal.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I'm assuming
Madeline's wounds didn't heal, did you? Because you killed her. So they're the sort of wounds that don't heal, when you murder someone. But he's just feeling so sorry for himself, and she'll jump on the bandwagon now. Loony Debbie.
that they are treating you for PTSD because you found the body. Not to mention everything else that went along with that.
No, not treating me for anything except my blood pressure.
So poor Stefan, he found the body. He should be, the body, somebody else killed her or, nothing to do with Stefan, not her baby. But he should be getting treated for PTSD because he found the body. This is his defence is going to come up with that he just walked in and she was dead. That's what he's going to say.
through the PTSD because you're not sleeping.
Well, you know, I keep telling myself that I have to maintain my faith. Without faith and trust in God, I have nothing, and therefore I'm keeping that, you know?
Well, just remember that not everybody knows who God is, and not everybody who's walking around is not a demon. Some are demons.
Yeah, he's a demon, Debbie. He's a demon. Your son. He's a devil that walks amongst us. So evil was in him that night, whether you like it or not.
I keep telling God that I trust you and I have faith in you. Please deliver me from this. Please deliver me from the people who are trying to destroy me. And I just want to see my parents again.
Well, we'd like to see you too. It's been awfully quiet without you.
Yeah.
Okay,
Thing is, yeah, he keeps saying, I just want to see my parents again. When he was out and free, he hated his parents. He talked about them in a terrible way. Now, because they're the only people that will have anything to do with him, now he just wants to see his parents again because nobody else gives a shit about him. And for everybody else, they won't care if he was never seen again. He's lost the owner, you know, he had a better time with Madeline and Jen's family and everything. And he has, of course, they all hate him now, but they're just a load of bitches, according to Dippy Debbie anyway. But yeah, all he's got is his parents. So suddenly he loves them and they're great. But when he was out, before he went into prison, he spoke badly about them. They irritated him. The poodles irritated him. Everything irritated him. He lived in a shithole. And they indulged him in everything he did. And now, all of a sudden, because he's got nobody else.
With the dogs.
What?
I asked your mother, I said, how can she say it's been quiet with the dogs?
Relatively, I guess.
I think Chris tries to bring it back to some sanity there. He's like, oh, how could your mum say it's been quiet when we've got the dogs? So we've got all these poodles. One of their poodles is just about to have 8 puppies.
But,
well, yeah, I mean, nobody to say, hey, are you making ramen?
yeah.
Nobody to say, is that the best you can say about the positive things of having your son around? There's nobody to say, hey, are you making ramen? Noodles, that is, isn't it? I'm just trying to think what, there's things, it's like, surely there's more that you can think of. It was positive. I mean, didn't they say, now we listened to the interviews that they made, he just spent all his time in his room. They never saw him. He was in his room with his big purple dragon and his mouse droids and his Tamagotchis and Warhammers most of the time. Never came out of his room, except to make ramen, obviously. God, is that the best she can say that she misses?
Yeah, that ramen was a big hit. Even with, I used to remember she would have such a mischievous little evil smile on her face when I made a fresh bowl of ramen, and she'd.
So he brings it back to Madeline again. Says he's in love with Madeline. That's what I think. It must have been an accident. I don't think he would have meant to kill her because he was enjoying her, unless it came to a time where she wouldn't go along with what he wanted. I feel like if he did kill her, which I'm pretty certain he did, it was an accident. I don't feel he would have done it deliberately, or maybe just a fit of rage. But I don't know about Stefan with rage. But anyway, whatever. But he's still in love with her. He keeps bringing it back. Like she mentioned the making ramen, he's brought it back to Madeline again. When you're in love with someone, you talk about them a lot, don't you? You don't even know you're doing it sometimes. You bring them into the conversation. He was in love with Madeline as if she was his girlfriend. And he's going, oh, yeah, the little mischievous smile when I was making ramen. Like these are, I miss that. Oh, for fuck's sake. Oh, God. Honestly. I should just let it run. I'm just going to get angrier and angrier.
Try a bite and then steal the rest of the bowl and walk away while staring evil looks and smiles at me. I miss that.
Well, she was a very special child. And I wish this had not happened that way, and I wish a lot of things had not happened the way they happened, and you know what I'm talking about?
Yep, me too.
So I don't understand that. I don't think there's ever anything that anybody could say to me that would make me understand that.
And this is the only time she refers to the other things, like this is what she's referring to, the photos and videos. And she says, I'll never understand it. No, nothing anyone can say will make me understand that. That's really the only reference she ever makes to his crimes. But it's not proper reference, but it's the only time she really does. And again, see how quiet Chris is. Chris isn't speaking at all, is it?
So I'm not even going to go further than that into it, but just know that I don't care what you did.
I don't care what you did.
There is nothing that would make me hate you. There is nothing that would make me turn my back on you.
So how much does this remind you of Roberta Laundrie, the Brian Laundrie in the Gabby Petito case? I would bury a body for you. I would do anything for you. These mothers and fathers, but the mother more here, I think, isn't she? But, Chris indulges him as well. But these mothers are almost in love with their sons, aren't they? It's a really creepy, horrible sort of thing, I would bury a body for you. That was Roberta Laundrie, wasn't it? Said that. Who's the other mothers that, like Chris Watts's mum and dad, and wives and husbands is bad enough, but when the parents, it's almost like a love affair that they're having with their child, to be so blind. We're all blind as far as our children are concerned, but not to this extent. Surely it's weird, isn't it? It's so weird. The way she talks to him, very weird.
Well, I appreciate that, Mom. Thank you.
Well, you're welcome, sweetheart.
And, I just going up for visits and bringing new snacks or new treats for her to try, or
he's
showing
talking
her
about
new video
Maddie.
games or her games and things like that. I miss that.
I miss that. Yeah, he misses it because she was like his girlfriend. I miss bringing her games, but really it's because he liked those games. He didn't bring those games for Madeline because he cared about Madeline, because he was interested in them. Do you know what I'm saying? He was like, she was his like child bride almost, and they were on the same level emotionally. 13, then, from when she was 8, and as she was getting older, she was probably growing away from him, and he wouldn't have liked that because he's going nowhere. If he nearly 40, that's the emotional stage he's got to, and he's not moved out. He's not going anywhere after that, is he? If he hasn't moved out of that phase by 30, let's say at the latest, he's never going any further with it. Whereas Madeline, she was maturing and she was growing out of that phase. She would have come to a day where she didn't want to play with Tamagotchis or big purple dragons. She was getting to an age where she wanted to, boys were getting more interested, and because she was growing normally, maturing normally, despite the abuse. He never did. He's still in that. So he won't have liked the fact that she was, growing up. He won't have liked it, because he liked little girls because he could control them, and also he could play with them. And I don't mean that as a euphemism. I mean play games with them. When by the time she got to 15, she was at night, Kelly. By the time she got to 15, she wouldn't want it to play with the Warhammers and all that, would she? She would be into makeup and boys and different things.
We got the 1 minute notice.
Yeah, there it is again. Well, I'll try to call back in another 15 minutes, but you know the deal. If you don't hear from me then, I'll try to call back in the next few days.
Okay, we'll catch up to you then.
Love you,
All
honey.
right. I love you too, and I'll try again in 15 minutes, okay?
Right, we'll go straight on to the next one. We'll probably do 2 more calls. So what was that one? 2019. I think I think we're on to this one now. This one.
For this message, press 1 to place a. Please enter your PIN number.
Well, oh, no, we've listened to this, I think. I've lost track now of how many we've listened to. So, what was that one? June the 1st, 2019. Ah, yeah, this is the next one. 2051. Yeah, this is it.
After the tone, cents for each.
Okay. Anyway, yeah, just getting back to what I was saying, just faith and trust, and, message received.
I guess if there's one thing that we wish for is that you had come to us sooner. That you had come to us and let us know what was going on.
Well, unfortunately, I was suffering from a bit of cowardice.
A bit of cowardice.
Yeah, but hindsight's always 20/20, and can't do anything about it now. But this thing
It's bigger because of it.
it's a bigger problem because of that, and again, not sure what would be any. I'm sure there would be some things different if you had chosen that path, because there's obviously nothing we could have done without. Well, there's nothing we could have done. I mean,
The thing is, it doesn't matter. Well, it does matter, because maybe Madeline would still be alive if Stephan would have gone to his parents. But as far as his punishment is concerned, just the videos and things on his phone are enough for the death penalty in Florida. So even if he wouldn't have ended up allegedly murdering Madeline or killing her accidentally or whatever happened, he still would have been looking at the death penalty because of the stuff that's on his phone. And we have to remember, however people don't like Jen or whatever, nobody else are on those photos and videos. Only him. And nobody else has been charged. Only him. So these parents have to acknowledge it's him who did it, not anybody else. It's time that they acknowledge. I think things would be a lot better if they just, I know they're probably worried to say too much to him. They're probably worried that he might take his own life or something like that. They're trying their best as parents to give him some hope. I understand that. I really honestly do. The only thing I don't understand is the way that Debbie's so horrible about everybody else. She's so Christian when it comes to Stephan and what the forgiveness that he deserves from God, etc. But not everybody else is an idiot or a bitch or a jealous little twonk or something. So she's not a genuine Christian. She's not Christian to everybody. She's only Christian to him.
there was only one choice, but we could have talked our way through this. I mean, the phone call that you made to me earlier in the afternoon, if you had at least shared that, we could have talked our way through that and figured out a much better solution than whatever was whatever you guys came up with, because none of that was believable. And I was thinking earlier today or yesterday that somehow I feel that you were forced into this, and I don't, and that's just my speculation.
So just as you're thinking that maybe Chris is not as dappy as Debbie, this is what he says. You were forced. We start to think you were forced into this. Oh My God. Forced into it over 6 years, was he? Forced into it. Forced to abuse this little girl. Forced to do it. Oh my God. A grown man. Listen, it's not his fault. He was made to do it. Someone had a gun at his head, obviously, and just made him do all of it. And that, when Chris said that, when I was listening to that earlier, again, it was one of those moments. How can you believe that? Seriously. Forced into it for all that length of time. Let's just let that sink in for a minute. So these are his parents. These are the parents that raised him. You can see a lot of the reason why he ended up like he was, can't you? It's inexcusable to say that. So disrespectful to Madeline as well. Forced into it. Oh my God, yeah. I didn't want to do it. I didn't want to abuse this girl for 6 years from being a little girl. Let's have another look. I like to remind ourselves, it's enough to see Madeline there, but let's remind ourselves of Madeline when he started doing this. This was her little girl, tiny little girl. Let's remind ourselves. But he was forced into it. It's not his fault. Somebody made him do it, of course. So Chris, then when Chris said that, all my sympathy, not that I had much to start with, to be honest. But again, Chris, if you're watching this, check yourself out in a mirror. What? He was forced into it? Forced into it for 6 years? Come on.
You were compromised and you were forced to participate in this, and as soon as you gotten away from the rest of them, you should have called me, and we should have and could have discussed this, and the outcome would have been a lot different than what it is.
Yeah. As soon as you got away from the rest of him, you should have called me. It was too late. He had 6 years of compromising photos and videos on his phone of this little girl. Now, the callousness for everybody except Stefan is breathtaking. And they so want to excuse him. Forced into it. It's the parallel universe again.
Right now. But
I don't want to get your hopes up, and as I said, don't get carried away with any conspiracy theories, but in a way I was compromised, and, when all that stuff was happening, I was not in my right mind anymore.
Oh my God, in a way I was compromised. And when all that stuff was happening, I wasn't in my right mind anymore. What does he mean? The 6 years of abuse, or when he just took her body and threw it in a field and left it there for maggots and, animals to just, this girl that he's supposed to have loved. He just chucked her away like rubbish, left her for the police to find. It took 5 days. Her body's decomposing, and animals and maggots and things come on, let's have a reality check as to what he did. This wasn't a moment. This was 6 years in the making.
yeah, well, I understand that, and that's when you probably should have just called me and said, "Hey, I've got a bit of a situation here," and
It would have been a rational thing to do, but at that point I was no longer capable of rational actions or thoughts.
Rational
understand.
actions or
Yep.
thoughts.
Incapable of it. I had no control over my faculties anymore. It's like the motor was running, but there was a screaming chimpanzee behind the wheel.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
David.
understand that. I don't understand lack of emotion.
Yeah, exactly. What about when he was videoing people under the bathroom door? Well, obviously, Jen was stood there with a shotgun and making him do it. Somebody was making him do that. It's not his fault. It's not little Stefan's fault. Not little Stefan, not my little Stefan.
Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, it wasn't like she was catatonic. She was talking in a normal voice, The only thing that showed any emotion at all was jiggling her leg, but she did that anyway. So
Yeah,
I
it's
just,
just anxious.
Oh, yeah, then she's going on now to say she didn't show enough emotion when Madeline went missing. Oh, my God. I said, but you were crying. Yeah, he was crying. He had that tissue. Do you remember? No tears, just a tissue dabbing his eyes, but there were no tears. But she's now calling Jen. If anything makes you want to defend Jen more, as far as I'm concerned, is this, I want to say the word that she used earlier, you know, criticizing Jen and defending her son. You just think, oh my God, it's all Jen's fault. It's all them bitches' fault. It's Madeline's fault because she was too precocious. You remember when she said that? She was precocious. So everybody's fault, but not yours. It's probably my fault. They'll probably be there now watching this saying, oh, these bloody YouTubers, they're vultures. Yeah, but we're not like your son.
yeah, she was anxious because she was lying to her teeth. That's okay.
Don't get your hopes up for any conspiracy theories or vast conspiracies. Just understand that.
Yeah, even he is putting a stop on that. This just tells you everything you need to know. Jen has got nothing to do with this. He knows it. Even he is defending Jen against his mother because she just wants somebody else to blame. And he's just said to her, don't go pinning your hopes on any conspiracy theories. He actually defends Jen himself, you know, which is like, oh my God, but she's just so desperate for it not to be him. She's the one, I think she should be arrested just for, talk about bad mothers. If that is the worst mother you can imagine.
Anything I did was not done while being within my rational mind. I had snapped at that point. And I wish I had done the correct thing to begin with. You know, I wish I had run downstairs and shaken her awake and called 911 and all that. And
yeah, now that's a key thing I think that he says there. He says, I wish I would have run downstairs and shaken her awake. He means Jen by that. Jen was asleep, passed out. He'd probably drugged Jen, I think. As probably did on many occasions. You know, don't ever think that doesn't happen. It happens all the time. I can imagine, oh, you've had a hard day at work. Oh, I'll make you a drink. Shall I make you a cocoa or, you know, make you something, whatever. Could be an alcoholic drink, could be a drink, a hot chocolate. Oh, I'll make something. Slip a few tablets in there. But he actually said there, I should have run downstairs and shaken her awake. So Jen, whatever faults Jen's got and what she's guilty of, she's not guilty of anything that happened that night. In his own words, he's just said, I should have gone down and shaken her awake, meaning Jen. So that says a lot, I think. And if his mum can't see that, well.
Well, I wish you had too. I wish you had too. Maybe she could have been saved, but you know.
She was beyond that.
Okay.
You know, when someone's that ice cold and just.
So now.
He was in a different part.
A little bit of a warning here because he's talking about how he apparently found her. Ice cold, beyond help, blue. This is what his defence is going to be. He went out the room for 2 hours, he said. Did that often, apparently. Went for a walk around the neighbourhood, but couldn't remember exactly what he did. Wandered around the house, played on his phone. And when he went back, Madeline was gone. And instead of phoning 911, getting an ambulance, he did what we all would have done. Of course we would, wouldn't we? We would have taken the body and pretended to take her to school and then dumped her in a field. Of course we would. That's exactly what you do, isn't it? He's horrible, man.
Part of the house?
Yeah.
Horrible.
She wasn't with you?
Well, she had gone to be with me earlier in the night, but I left her alone for quite a while while I was sort of
Yeah.
just walking around and, haunting around the house like I do.
Whatever.
Sometimes I go out for walks at night, or I'll just sit on the couch and just fiddle around on my phone, or just, I don't sleep well at night, especially when I've got to be up early and do something the next day.
Yeah.
And that was the case. So every time I realized anything was wrong, it was.
She was in a different part of the house when you found that out.
She was still upstairs.
Oh, she was upstairs. Okay.
Yeah, I left her alone there.
Oh, okay.
I had gone downstairs for a while, and every time I realized anything was wrong, it was just far too late. She'd been gone for a while.
Okay.
Just seeing her pale face and blue lips and how ice cold she was, and it's crazy.
That's going to stay with you. Yeah, that's.
So he said he cradled her. Do you remember that poem? I read it out on a video. I've still got it somewhere. He wrote that poem that the police found. It's starting to make a bit of sense now. I think, did he give her too many drugs? Maybe he didn't realise she may have already taken her drugs, that night. Or maybe, you just don't know, do you, what she'd taken that day. And he gave her more, and maybe he overdosed her. I don't think he killed her on purpose. I don't. But anyway, as I say, we don't know the results of the post-mortem. There are rumours that she was strangled, but that has not been confirmed officially. So until everything's confirmed officially, as you know, I can't accept just because a YouTuber said it, or just because even a reputable one. At the end of the day, we do not know the full details. But now remember, in the very first of these audios, he said he has seen her forensic report, her autopsy report. So he knows what the autopsy says. And it just makes you wonder, is that where this has come up now, that if it's shown that she died of an overdose, God, that gives him every opportunity, doesn't it? To say that maybe she did it herself, or somebody else did it to her, or it was, it's funny that he started saying these things now. Yeah. Is that because he's seen a loophole? Has he seen a loophole? But it still doesn't explain why then he tried to, pretend he'd taken her to school and, hide the body and throw her stuff into the dumpster. There's all them other things. So I don't think any jury is going to believe that, because they're going to look at his actions afterwards. If that was true, that she had overdosed, well, he would have just rang an ambulance. Well, of course you would. Imagine finding your sort of stepdaughter or anyone, unconscious or maybe deceased. First thing you do is be on the phone to a paramedic. And you'd be trying to give him the kiss of life and everything, even, because the paramedic, when you rang 911, that's what they'd tell you to do, perform CPR. He didn't do that. He didn't even say he tried to bring her back. He just cradled her. Weird. He is such a weirdo. But you know what? The apple doesn't fall far from the tree. They're all weirdos, this whole family. Hope you're watching, Chris and Debbie. You weirdos, you lunatics, you toxic Christians. You make me feel embarrassed to be a Christian. You are not Christian. You are just like loopy.
Yeah, I remember seeing my brother when he had passed away, and that's the last thing I remember seeing of him. And so.
Yeah, it's just, you can tell.
Yes, you can.
Yeah.
My dad, yeah.
Yeah, and Binky.
When
Don't forget
they're gone,
Binky.
really, really, truly gone, there's nothing you can do. There's no coming back.
Yeah.
No, there isn't.
She was past the point of no return.
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you what, given the
God.
the crazies of the grandmom and already starting to call her a Gordo, she would have been the next one on the list for gastric bypass, but I just think,
And then she starts having a go at the grandma again. The mad grandma, calling her Gordo. Well, it would have been Gorda. Gorda means fat. So she's saying that the grandmother was calling Madeline fat. So she's already, she's slurring on the grandma again. The grandma who's lost her granddaughter. She is, honestly, the genes of Stefan Stearns. I'm surprised his brother turned out okay, presumably that he did, because the genetics here, this guy, oh my God, what with that and his car accident, he's being run over and having this Fruit Loop for a mother. It's like, and a father who just defends him no matter what he does. Just, he's no wonder he turned out like he did. But yeah, so she's leaping on the grandma again. There, you're supposed to be a Christian, Debbie. You're the one who calls yourself a Christian. You're not very Christian, are you, really, Debbie? You're not Christian at all. You literally are not a Christian.
maybe God just delivered her out of a place that was going to become really bad for her.
Bye, Mindy. Thank you.
I always knew that life was going to be hard for her. Her mom certainly didn't do her any favors, and since I had no say in the matter of how she was raised or disciplined or anything, there was nothing I could do about it but sit back and watch the train wreck as it unfolded.
Yeah. And she
Oh yeah. So yeah, it was the mother's fault. He just had to watch the train wreck unfolding. He had no say in how she was disciplined. He's going to go on now and say how he was the go-to person that he stopped them from arguing. He's just a bloody saint, this guy. He's an absolute saint.
she's trying to tell everybody that she was a little angel and she had no problems with her, and you were already telling us that they were butting heads like two Rocky Mountain rams.
Yeah, they got physical on a couple of occasions.
Yeah, maybe they were arguing. Adolescents do argue with the parents. But do you know what? But he was the one that was abusing Maddie and recording it all, and had been for 6 years. Him arguing with your teenage daughter is not a crime. Stupid woman.
Yeah, I figure they did that again.
Oh.
But okay.
I often played mediator between the two of them because I was the only one that could talk either of them down when they started going at it with each other.
Yeah, I know.
Where were the roommates when all this is going on?
Upstairs, doing their own things.
Was all that screaming and yelling and crap going on?
Yeah,
I'm surprised
it's kind of, honestly, it wasn't that far out of place in that house. Was often given to yelling or loud crying or outbursts, and was given to yelling and screaming and coming down on people. It was happening a lot more and more often, which is why I kept trying to tell you, I think maybe your meds are becoming less effective. It seems like you're becoming more erratic and more unstable. It seemed like the more stable I became, the more unstable she became, like we switched places.
Well, I always told you she was a black hole of need.
She was what?
Yeah.
I always told you she was a what? Let's see.
The more unstable she became, like we switched places.
Well, I always told you she was a black hole of need.
Yeah.
A what? A black hole of need or something?
Well, there's nothing to do about it now, but what I hate the worst is that she's sitting in a hospital having 3 meals a day, clean sheets, television, access to phone, reading, walking around free, taking.
Yeah, that's what she hates the most, that Jen is in a hospital, access to a phone, 3 meals a day, walking around free. Not the fact that she's lost, he's murdered a daughter, but of course, forget that. That's what she hates the most. Not the fact Madeline's dead. She don't give a shit about Madeline. She only cares because, why should Jen Soto be walking around free and getting all these comforts where her poor little Stefan is in prison? How terrible. But it wasn't Jen. Whatever Jen might have done or not done. It wasn't her that had all these photos and videos on her phone. Debbie, Dippy Debbie.
She shower by herself, and you're sitting where you are.
Yeah, I guarantee her food's probably a lot better than mine.
Yeah.
Oh, I guarantee there's a lot of stuff that's better than yours.
Oh, yeah. A lot of stuff is better than his. Their stuff is better, but he hasn't lost his daughter. He hasn't lost his daughter. Honestly, this callousness towards Jen, and not, there's a lot of people are so nasty towards Jen, and I know all the things that she should have done and she didn't do, but she still lost her daughter. And I tell you what, even he says it. It's coming to something when Stephans defends Jen.
Well, it'll all come out in the wash.
Yeah, well,
Hopefully.
a very, 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 very slim chance of doing anything about any of this, and I'm praying to God and asking for His help to make it possible. But
Well, how about giving up the chivalrous part and lay some truthisms on?
what's that?
I said, quit being so chivalrous.
Quit being so chivalrous. See how it gets worse? It gets worse and worse. Quit being so chivalrous. Her son is chivalrous. Yeah, after everything he did. What a fucking gentleman he is. Oh my God, he's so chivalrous. And she's like, yeah, stop defending Jen. There's nothing he can say about Jen because Jen hasn't done anything, you stupid woman. I'm getting really angry with her now.
And protective of, start laying some truth bombs on her.
Oh, shut up.
You
Idiot.
know,
There's truth bombs there.
Oh,
maybe none is groundbreaking or bombastic as you might hope for, but there are some truths there. Some.
he's just said none of them are as bombastic as you might hope for. He's trying to... This is just crazy. Stephans, the monster who abused and killed and dumped this child, is defending Jen against his own mother because he knows that the things she's saying are so ridiculous. So, Debbie, I hope you're watching this video or you've listened to these audios. Listen to yourself. Take a reality check. Even your golden balls button mushroom son is telling you not to think that way. Just listen to what's being said to you.
Some ugly truths and some not so pretty truths, but I guess I reacted to everything the way I did because I wanted to shield her. I wanted to keep her from getting any blowback from him, but
You shouldn't have. You shouldn't have, because that left them only one person to lay everything on. That was you.
yep.
Yeah,
And,
it's all his fault.
I should have just done the correct thing from the get-go and let the chips fall where they may. But I couldn't stand the idea of losing them both horribly like that. And I lost them both anyway, so it was pointless.
So he was trying to keep... Now he's sort of saying he was trying to protect her. He didn't want to lose her, and then he's lost them both anyway, so it's all pointless. Anyway, I just can't say any more about it.
Yeah.
God.
There was just so much agony and so much pain, so much shock and so much trauma. My mind was just not... It wasn't me anymore. I wasn't in control of myself anymore. I was doing things that I wouldn't do. I wasn't acting or thinking rationally. It was just panic and fear and...
Yeah, I can't imagine.
You know, Stephan, I can't help but get the feeling that none of this that was on the phone was a surprise to you.
She was aware that I had certain feelings towards me.
Yeah. Well, then why would she send her in there to sleep with you?
So she's just said, I can't help but feel that all this stuff on the phone, she was aware of it. Presume she means Jen. And then he said she was aware of it. Now, whether he means Jen or whether he means Madeline, it's not clear sometimes. He said she had feelings towards me. He means Madeline. He thinks Madeline was in love with him. This is just classic child lover. He thinks Madeline was in love with him, and maybe in a way she was, because he was behaved inappropriately towards him. He groomed her. And this is what I've said right from the beginning. A lot of child lovers, they don't do it by violence or aggression. They groom their victims. They think they're in love with them because they're not emotionally able to see that this is wrong, that what's happening. Oh God, it's just unbelievable.
He always used to joke about it, call it an electrocomplex. He used to joke and say, you better not leave me for my daughter when she's older, things like that. Laugh about it, and they used to both ogle over me and comment on me and talk about me together and giggle and talk about how nice I looked, and it was not an appropriate situation.
Talk about how nice I looked.
No, it wasn't.
And, always had an issue with boundaries. She never respected any boundaries that I tried to set. We got in arguments on more than one occasion about the sleeping.
She never respected any boundaries I tried to set. So again, it's like it's not his fault. It's not his fault. He was made to do it, whatever it was. And yeah, I think Maddie did have feelings for Stefan. Of course she did, because he was there buying her presents and grooming her and everything. But that's what groomers do. But it's his fault. He's nearly 40 years old. He's the adult. She's like, yeah. Oh, poor Stefan. You're forgetting that your son is now nearly 40, nearly middle-aged. And you're defending him like he was 13 as well.
Arrangement, so I, would beg her, please make her go sleep in her own room. And she said, no, it's easier this way for me to wake her up when she's near me. And it's like we didn't have any privacy, and just didn't have any space.
Now, this about the Woody, people make throwaway remarks. If you found out tomorrow something about someone, you could go back over, if you've known them 20 years or whatever. People make throwaway remarks. I don't think they can, think that just because of one remark that Jen made, or, it's all, every single thing that Jen said will be being picked to bits. How many things do you think if tomorrow somebody came out and said something about this, say, oh, well, 8 years ago she said this or she said that, or people make throwaway remarks. I don't think it's significant. Personally, I know people do, and that's fine, but I don't think there's any significance in it whatsoever. I think she probably was aware that, often young girls get crushes on older men, or young men get crushes on older women. But then it's up to the woman or the man the person's got the crush on, not to take it any further. They'll have children get crushes. But if the adult that they've got a crush on takes it further, it's their fault. It's not the child's fault. He's trying to say as if, he couldn't help himself. Poor little Stefan, he was just forced into everything.
For ourselves, and she would suggest, well, maybe you should go sleep in bed instead. And it's like, it's like a twin bed, and I'm, 6+ feet, and why would I want to do that instead of sleeping in our king-size bed,
He wanted to sleep in the king-size bed. He didn't want to sleep in the twin bed. Why should he sleep in the king-size bed, in the twin bed, when there was a nice king-size bed there? So, he's a selfie. That's what he's blamed it on. He didn't want to go and sleep in the twin-size bed because the king-size bed was more comfy. As if, he didn't have a choice because of that. I mean, it's so ridiculous and pathetic. It's hardly even worth talking about.
I should have broken up with her a long time ago and just distanced myself.
Oh, hell yeah. Oh, hell yeah.
Sure, what occurred? Hindsight's always 20/20.
Yeah, it seems to be my superpower. Useless superpower. Captain Hindsight.
Captain Hindsight. I should have split up from her a long time ago. Well, that's only your fault, Stefan, that you didn't. Nobody else's fault. You didn't split up from her a long time ago because you were already abusing Madeline and you were enjoying abusing Madeline. So that's why you didn't split up from Jen, because if you would have split up from Jen, you wouldn't have had access to Madeline, would you? So that's why you stayed with her all that time. You know, stop talking about it as if it's not your fault. It's your fault. Yeah, Jen did a lot of things wrong, but I agree, Laurie, completely. She shouldn't have encouraged her to sleep with Stefan. She shouldn't. But then Jen's got her own karma to face there with that. She's got her own guilt to find. It's not up to me to judge her. I don't think Jen did anything to Madeline. I think Jen will be distraught now, as you know, and now the trial's coming up. Hopefully we'll see a little bit more about the details. But I think if Jen would have had anything to do with it, she would have been arrested. But yeah, she was guilty of being stupid, really, or a bad mother, whatever you say. But unfortunately, those things aren't criminal offences. So, but you see what I'm saying? Even so, it's still his responsibility. You know, if to me, the way I look at it is, if someone says to you, oh yeah, go and sleep with Madeline, you know, if it was anybody and somebody said, oh yeah, and you felt uncomfortable with it, just don't do it. Don't say, no, I'm not doing it. You don't have to do it. Don't, you know, or you, why didn't he say, oh, I'll go and sleep on the single bed, you know, in Madeline's room downstairs. Let Madeline sleep with you in there, or what? He's a man who can stand up for himself. You don't do something because somebody tells you to do it. It's like if somebody said to me, oh yeah, go and, I don't know, go and kill that person. And I go, yeah, I did it because I was told to, you know, absolute bollocks. He's an adult with his own responsibilities. If he felt uncomfortable with the situation, he shouldn't have done it. And he didn't feel uncomfortable with it for the 6 years he was collecting photos and videos on his phone. So I just don't buy this at all. What he's saying here, oh, you know, poor him, and he shouldn't have gone along with it. Somebody tells you to jump off a cliff, you don't jump off it unless you want to, do you? Don't do it just because somebody tells you to do it. You know, he should have. He's the one who's, this is what I'm trying to say. Ultimately, Jen's responsible for what she did wrong, and he's responsible for what he did wrong. Can't blame Jen for what he did. You can't blame him for what Jen did. You know, everyone's got individual responsibility, and he's the one with all the photos and videos on his phone. At the end of the day, Jen's not in those videos, not on those photos. Jen didn't know about them. I don't think, the police don't think, otherwise she would have been arrested. So, you know, whatever he says doesn't matter because he's the one who's responsible. And this little girl, Maddie, she's the one who suffered for it. He had the choice not to do it. I can't understand his mum sticking up for him. Honestly, I can't, not for that. Because although as I say, I think if it was my son or anyone I loved, I would still speak to them because at the end of the day, especially if I was all they had, but I wouldn't be trying to make excuses for them. I don't think you can make an excuse for this.
Well, you know, you certainly didn't appreciate it when I told you that.
No, I certainly didn't. You know, typical, you know, kid trying to make their own way. Or
did you hear that? So she said, oh, you didn't appreciate that when I told you. Now, bearing in mind, he's nearly 40 years old. He's only been with Jen, 6 years or whatever. And his response to that was, no, typical kid just trying to make their own way. He was 35 or something, 33, 34. Not a kid, Stefan, you're not a kid. This is the crux of everything to me. In Stefan's head, he is a kid. Typical kid trying to make their own way. What, at 33? Like, let's just do that again. I couldn't believe it, but this was another moment for me. She says, "Oh, you never listened to me when I tried to tell you." And he said, "No, I didn't." Typical kid, trying to make his own way like he's about 14.
6+ feet, and no, why would I want to do that instead of sleeping in our king-size bed, you know?
Yeah, I wanted to sleep in the king-size bed. I didn't want to sleep
I
in
should
the
have
little
broken up with her a
bed.
long time ago and just distanced myself.
Oh, hell yeah. Oh, hell yeah.
Should have would have. Hindsight's always 20/20.
Yeah, it seems to be my superpower. Useless superpower. Captain Hindsight.
That's in hindsight.
Well, you know, you certainly didn't appreciate it when I told you that.
No, I certainly didn't. You know, typical, kid trying to
Typical kid.
make their own way or have their own ideas and realizing only too late, how valuable they
Typical kid trying to make their own way or have their own ideas at 33 years old. He calls himself a typical kid. That's a 14. Yeah, when you try and tell a 14-year-old what to do, even older, but you don't listen to your parents, do you? That's fair enough, but you don't refer to yourself as, I'm a typical kid just trying to make my own way by the time you get to over 30. Do you? Typical kid. That's how he sees himself. He's a kid.
their parents' advice really was.
Yeah. Well, this is a shit show that rivals a pigsty.
Yeah, this is not something that you recover from.
No, you
None
can't.
of us will ever recover from this. Ever.
1 minute remaining.
Yeah, but who will never recover from it? Madeline. So, you'll never recover from it. We'll never recover from it. No, the person who won't recover from it is Madeline. She definitely won't recover from it.
Just not recoverable. Okay, you got your 1 minute warning, and they're probably not going to give you a fourth run at this.
Yeah, someone's screaming in the background right now, too.
Okay, honey, I hear them.
Yeah, I don't know if you could hear that, but somebody was going mental in the background. Because, of course, remember, he's there with, that's what he said earlier, wasn't he? He's there with all those crazies. He's not crazy, no, but he's there with all those crazies. But you can hear someone shouting in the background. But he's in seclusion. He's in solitary, so he's not really, he might be able to hear them, but, really, at the end of the day, it's hard to find any sympathy for him, isn't it? Well, impossible, really.
So, you're going to try to call back tomorrow?
Yeah, I'll see if I can call back in the next couple of days. I probably got about $18, $19 left on the phone account, and I got like 17 cents left in the commissary account.
We'll try to do something about that.
Okay.
When do you need to have the commissary replenished?
What?
When do you need to have the commissary replenished?
Whenever you're able to, I guess. I did get a pad of paper, though.
Nice.
You think of what?
He got a pad of paper.
Oh, okay.
I love you guys, and
Oh, okay. Because maybe you don't remember, but in one of the earlier videos, he asked for money in the commissary because he wanted to buy a pad of paper, and his dad put $50 in. $50. And then he's just, oh, well, I did buy a pad of paper. I mean, a pad of paper didn't cost $50, did it? And it's only been a couple of days since his dad put it in. He's constantly, I think still that his parents will be relieved because they're not having to give him as much money as they were having to pay for him before, paying for his phone, paying for his rent, his petrol, loaning him the car. They were bailing him out left, right and centre. So I suspect his dad's thinking, oh, well, giving him $50 every now and again is nothing compared to what we used to have to give him. But he goes through he's, I know he's not got much else to do, and I understand that. Whatever you had in your commissary, you'd be buying sweets or crisps or whatever, try and make your life a little bit more enjoyable. But, $50, but he's bought a pad. And his dad goes, oh, like that. His dad knows. He knows he always phones them when he needs money. Now, he says he's actually, I'm going to finish it and we'll listen to the rest later on today. Just to have, I just need to have a break, get some lunch and whatever. But I'll be back later today, definitely, with more of these. Now, this is June the 1st, this call. His next one is not till June the 6th. So there's quite a little gap in between. And that'll be because his dad's put money in the commissary, so he doesn't need to speak to him. I still think when he's got things going on as well at the prison, I suppose, is if his lawyer comes see him, or you go see the mental health people and he gets some stimulation and someone to talk to. He doesn't need so much to talk to his parents, I would imagine. But to me, just if you listen to these, it always seems to be about money in the commissary that he needs. And yeah, for a pad of paper, $50 is already run out. And then later is this thing about the glasses, buying the glasses. And in the end, he never buys. He gets his dad to put the money in for the glasses, and then he decides he's not going to buy them anyway. You know, it's all about money. But anyway, that's how he is. So, gosh, yeah, it's a little bit exhausting, isn't it, listening to these? But very intriguing, I think. I think it gives a very good insight into why Stephan is the way he is, the way his parents are, and any sympathy that I do always feel sorry for the parents of perpetrators, because, you know, it's horrible to think that your child is responsible for the death of another, or, you know, doing something terrible. But this Debbie especially, her way of being so horrible towards everybody else, but in the meantime saying what a Christian she is and this, that and other, and being crucified, and then, you know, not having any Christian sympathy for anybody else is terrible, I think. Awful. What else was I going to say? So don't forget to leave your DNA on the like button. Don't forget to subscribe if you're not already subscribed. And yeah, David, I've got an inbuilt bullshit detector. Don't worry. Can smell it a mile off, and I'm always right. So I always tell my son, one day you'll realise I'm always right. But I usually am right. And even when I think I'm not right, 'cause sometimes you get feelings about things, don't you? Think, no, you know, you try and talk yourself out of it, but I'm normally right. I've learned to trust my instincts a lot better as I've got older. When I was younger, I didn't trust my instincts, and that's got me into trouble. Now I rely on my instincts, and if I get a gut feeling, sometimes, you know, I don't even know why. It's just that literally is a feeling, but I do get them and I do trust them. Hello, Heather. I've got my own built-in bullshit meter. Yeah. Hope you're feeling better. Hope you're feeling better, Heather. Yeah, I have, you know, and I just wish in my life I would have relied on it more, you know, because sometimes I haven't relied on it. I probably even now, I'm not saying that nobody could pull the wool over my eyes. I think we're all capable of just believing what we want to believe. All of us are capable of that. But I think this is breathtaking, isn't it? You know, this is breathtakingly scary, the denial, the, you know, just incredible, you know. Oh, Heather, you are a little bit late to the party, but I'm going to be back later. I'm not sure what time. Early afternoon time, after lunch. I'm going to do the next couple of I can feel my voice going now as well, so I need a bit of whiskey. That's what I need. Well, I can have some today because I'm not driving today because number one son's not working. So I'm going to have a little bit of whiskey, a little bit of wine, and I'll be back later with the next. So let me just see how many we've done so far. We've still got a few, to be honest. Because there was 13 of them. Now then, where am I up to? I think I'm about halfway through, am I? Is that number 6? 20, 21, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I think there's 6 more audio calls. One's very, very short. And if I didn't talk all the way through them, we would get through them quicker. But yeah, I think what I'm going to do, because I've got some other things I want to talk about as well, but I want to do these until I've finished them, and then I'm going to upload them, as I say, as normal. In fact, I might do that, upload. Oh, no, not today. Not today. I'm going to upload them as just pure audios so people can listen to them when they want to. Yeah. I think we've got 6 more left to listen to and to get angry about. And do you know what they get worse? Just as you think, oh, they can't get any worse than this, it gets a bit worse again because the denial. Anyway, so I wonder why the police have... oh, David. Well, it'll be later. It'll be late afternoon. It won't be early afternoon. But anyway, we'll see you at some point. As you say, you can catch up. What was I going to say? So, yeah, I wonder why the police have releases. I mean, of course, they are very transparent in Florida. But there'll be other phone calls than this. I'm not sure why they've released these phone calls in particular. You know, it's... oh, they are worth saying. Well, some bits are. Yeah, I'm not sure. I suppose because it's coming up to the trial. People, thing is, when you ask for it, depends, somebody's asked for them and they've released them. So, but yeah, listen to these. Heather, as you're doing whatever you're doing, put these on in the background because you'll be amazed. Oh, there you go. So this is June the 1st at 20:51. Let's see. Yeah, so the next one's... Oh, hang on. June the 7th is the next one, I think. June the 1st, June the 2nd, June the... Oh, it might be 7th. Anyway, we'll get through them. So let me just write down actually where I'm up to so I don't end up repeating them. Listen, so thanks for watching. Don't forget, as I say, leave your DNA on the like button. Please subscribe if you're not already subscribed. Let me put my banner on. And I'll see you really soon in the next video, as always. Till then, may your God go with you always. Thank you. Take care. Enjoy your Sunday. See you later. Bye.